Okay, are we recording?
Hope not, because I am not ready.
Let's ruin some takes, shall we?
Let's do it.
It's confession time!
And breathe out.
Honestly, I bet those LinkedIn bros are shaking right now. They're like, oh my god, this doesn't belong. Well, you know what? This is what the people want, so shut up. A little energy moment, a little energy check.
I was at an 8 this morning. I feel like I'm at no, I'm still an 8. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Slay.
How are you? What's your number today?
I'm a 9. I'm so happy today. My energy is like vibing. I'm feeling good.
I'm loving this for you. This is what we want to be bringing every week.
Yeah.
Because
this is the energy we need.
yeah. And we'll still, some days we won't be the super high energy and we'll still be here.
I mean, we're human.
Yeah.
You know, like until proven otherwise, we are human
Until
and not
AI
aliens.
comes for all of us.
We'll see.
Let's set some intentions.
Okay. Let's cleanse this energy. Let's cleanse our energy. Breathe in.
Breathe out. ROI does not matter here.
You are more than your KPIs.
And you have permission to rant.
rant.
Let's get into it. Okay, this week in marketing, we did a survey last year with marketing teams and we asked them how they were feeling. Fun fact, 86% of marketers responded and said they felt overwhelmed often or all the time. That's not great.
No.
Crazy, yes, that's a crazy figure, but also not surprising. to be
Not very
honest.
surprising. I mean, I feel like I see that. I see that in our outside world. So
Yeah.
definitely not surprising.
And you know, it's probably not your strategy.
No. Also, it's probably not your fault. It's
Yeah.
probably your system's fault.
Listen up.
Or your manager's fault.
It's definitely your manager's fault.
Or your manager's fault.
Also their fault.
Yeah.
Either way,
It's your process.
it's your process. It's almost never your strategy.
I'm sorry, babe.
So today we're talking workflows.
Break up with your workflow.
Let's break it down.
Because it's whack. Okay, but seriously, your workflow is probably the problem.
Yeah. I think everybody likes to point if there's an issue or something that's going wrong. They love to point at the strategy and go, let's rethink this. Let's do a 360 and do something different.
Like, do you need to change your strategy that often? Like,
That's the question. Like, do you actually need to change your strategy? Is the strategy the problem? One thing you can say is you definitely don't need a new strategy every quarter. Say it again with me. You do not need a new strategy every quarter. That's just wasting
Preach.
everyone's time and energy. We still use sorry, go ahead.
sorry, no, I talked over you and I just realized and I'm like, "Ah."
It's okay. This is how we are. So
Yeah.
we're doing our best to learn how to not speak over each other, but we get very excited and that's just how
Yeah.
it is. So sorry to our editing team. Thank you so much.
Me trying to not speak.
So we're still using our strategy that I made it in 2024 when I first joined. And yes, there's been updates, there's been changes. We're like refreshing it with new insights based on, the market has developed. Things have changed since 2024, but it's still the same strategy. I'm not starting from scratch every quarter, let alone every year or every quarter is crazy. But I think a lot of people love to, like I said earlier, point to strategy. Something's wrong or things aren't working the way they should. And everyone's like, let's rethink the whole strategy.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
Most of the time, like, the strategy is not the problem. It's probably how you're executing that strategy.
Literally, because you can have the best strategy in the world that's grounded in audience insight, it's grounded in market data, like everybody believes in it. But if your processes and execution, like your operations are a mess, good luck.
Yeah.
Like there's no point having a strategy because it's like you have no workflow around it.
Yeah, and you're a professional, okay? I'm talking to you. Like, you're a professional. Your strategy is probably right. Like, it's not about like, oh, how are we approaching this? It's probably the process of getting that strategy in place that is failing because you have either too many like approvals, like too many people who have to actually give approval, too many stakeholders,
Feedback.
maybe a process that is also not very efficient.
Yeah. Like most teams, as we know, are not stuck for ideas. Like,
Yeah, that's us. Like, we have 1,000 ideas.
Yeah.
The problem is not like, oh, let's come up with ideas. The problem is, okay, now we have to wait for approval. Then we have to wait for feedback. Then we have to rechange the idea. And then actually what happens is the idea becomes this like big Frankenstein that everybody's given their opinion about. And then it sucks and you kill it because it sucks.
because too many cooks in the kitchen never works. You need space. So everyone has been there. I know I have when it comes to like, you have a great idea and it's grounded in all the things that you care about, your audience, like all those things. And you see it get absolutely ruined by the time it goes through all the rounds of feedback. And I know every marketer, let's just sit together with this for a minute. I see you, I hear you, I've been there. We've all been there when the idea died after the 8th round of approval, the 17th stakeholder had something to say, and all you want to do is cry.
Yeah, probably everybody has like one example in their minds that they're thinking about right now. Like, yeah, that was that idea that flew away and never actually got executed
Literally
because
triggered.
everybody trashed on it.
Yeah. Death by feedback is very much real.
Death by feedback. So this is the thing, guys. Like, we don't need so many people involved. Like,
Exactly.
you have to, first of all, scale it down.
Yeah.
Who needs to know about this? Who needs to be the person giving the approval? Like, your CEO doesn't need to approve every campaign you do. Like,
No.
let's be honest.
No, and that would be crazy. And like every organization is a bit different. Small companies, medium, large, like it's different everywhere. And every also personality. Some CEOs maybe have a marketing background and they feel very much tied to the marketing. So they
Yeah.
want to have a say. And so navigating that is also a bit of a struggle for us marketers, is knowing that not everywhere is the same. There's no like playbook, let's say, for how things are supposed to go. But you can also work within, your constraints, what works for your team. Like we like to execute ideas that, sometimes you can think about it and make it into a huge thing and it turns into a big production. And that's just a lot more time, effort, money, resources that we don't want to spend. But sometimes an idea like can pop up over lunch, something quick. And yes, you could do it like with a whole campaign
Production.
around it. Yeah, you could make it a huge thing. Or you could execute it really quickly. Like for example, when we did we were looking for survey responses. We knew we had to do a post or some sort of call out to like get people to respond to our survey. We had a target we wanted to meet. And over lunch, I just had the idea of like, what if we just locked you up in a room and said, we're not releasing you until we get 100 responses.
Yeah, that was genius.
It was so funny. I just had heard that, locked up song was like trending at the time. And anyway, it came together really nicely. But we could have been like, right, let's do a skit. Let's make it a thing. Let's do a whole narrative about it. But instead, it was something we executed straight after lunch by taking a picture of you in one of our phone booths. Or one of our meeting rooms. Took a photo with a sign, like 100 responses to feedback or something like that.
Yeah, until I'm
so
like
well.
freed.
Yeah.
But that's why it's like you need a mix of things. Like some content needs to be really strategically executed and it needs all of the feedback approvals and workflow.
It's worth doing all the steps.
But you also have some kind of content that
Yeah.
you don't need a sprint or a deck, or you don't need to, overthink it and over-engineer it so much.
That's
you just
the
need to
thing.
do it sometimes. That's why sometimes we just make a bunch of little TikTok style videos that, they could have been a whole production that we do with like an agency and we work with and we have professional cameras. But sometimes
It's not worth
you also have to, decide like, do you want this now or do you want it in like 3 weeks when it's not going to be relevant anymore?
And some ideas are worth taking the time to scope it out and do it properly. For example, a report project. Like we're going to really think about that from a strategic point of view and from distribution first and all of that. But like that one piece of it, which was just to call out and get more survey responses, like we can do that quick and dirty. It's creative, it's funny. And we got such great response from marketers who were like, wow, this is a great way to call out for survey responses. And that was our audience as marketers. We want to impress them with like clever marketing. So that also supports our goals, even if it's not like buy content, do da-da-da-da-da,
Yeah, you got to be scrappy sometimes. And some things are worth being scrappy. Like not everything needs to be super beautiful and super sleek like a beautiful report.
Yeah, or like a full production video that costs a lot of time, money and energy, but at the end of the day, you still don't know if it's going to perform.
Yeah.
So like, it's good. I like to invest in video and do fun, cool things, but some ideas we can definitely execute without getting like too stuck in the process. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is like good processes also enable you to have freedom to do things like that. It's not about sticking to a process for the sake of it. It's about having the space and the guardrails so that if an idea comes and we can execute it quickly, we know the steps to do it and we're not blocked by legacy processes that make no sense for us.
Yeah, you have space for it as well.
Yeah. Because the real killers of momentum, which we know, is approval rounds. Like, especially with an idea that you pluck out of the creative energy that we get. And we're there waiting 2 weeks later for approval. Never mind. Like, I've moved on. So has the world.
Maybe we don't even like the idea anymore at this point.
Yeah. And also unclear ownership. That's a huge thing. Like, who is in charge of this? Me and Nika share a lot of our tasks, but we always have to pick someone who owns it. And like, it's always shared. We work on everything together. We're collaborators, but someone has to own it because you're the stakeholder then who's responsible for making sure all the pieces get done. And,
That's why we have our Rachi. Rachi? I don't know how you say it.
Whichever way you want to say it.
Call it what you want. I don't care.
Prioritization. That's what we use. RASI is one of the great like prioritization methods you can use, but there's so many different like formulas and stuff you can use. But RASI works for us because it makes sure that we can like work collaboratively collaboratively with other teams without like with clarity so that everybody knows what's expected of them at what point.
Yeah, it's a way to stay aligned, like so that at least we all know what we're doing. And it's not like this random project that exists nowhere and you have to remember off the top of your mind and then nobody actually prioritizes it.
Yeah, because, and also when everybody's not involved or no one's like aware from the beginning, then things get reprioritized because they also don't know, like why should they bother? If they're looped in from the beginning of the project or whatever it is, then there's a lot more, like they're more likely to actually want to see it through because they understand the priority, they understand the story, they understand like why we're doing this. But all of that, like all of those things just listed on top of like a lack of clear focus within teams, all stalls creativity and kills a good idea before it can actually get out into the world. So we're talking today about workflows. We want to talk about how, I was going to say bottlenecks pop up.
Oh my God, not bottlenecks. Who even says that?
Marketers, we say bottleneck.
What about like traffic jam?
Okay.
Blocker.
Find the traffic jam in your...
I like traffic jam.
Content city.
Yes. Oh my God. Find your traffic jam and unjam it. Okay. Also because like, I don't know.
Green light.
It needs to be something a little bit more exciting as a word. Like.
Yes. And unless your strategy is wait for things to die in approval, then you can just sign off from this podcast. Just log off. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you.
It's been super real.
But for those who are struggling, stick with us.
Okay, so actually, I have something I want to say about this because there's something that I really struggle with, and I call it like the demon paralysis.
Not the demon.
So it's this demon that keeps me from doing my tasks because they just seem so big and scary and insurmountable, and sometimes you just have this block in you because you just can't take yourself to face it. And I'm like, how do I get over that? Like, for example, I had like my merch project. So when I started doing merch, I was super excited because it was a really cool project.
So fun.
But I was also so scared because I was like, I've never done this before. Like, I don't know how to even start like a merch line. I didn't even know what the hell to call it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, where do I start? Just scoping the project was like terrifying for me. So I had to do all of these tasks that I've never done before and somehow also seem like I knew what I was doing because I had just started. I wanted to show that I was actually an expert and I was hired for the right reasons. So my demon paralysis came in and he was like, no, you're not doing it. So my beginning that project was actually terrifying for me.
That's the problem though, is like, because I think the ask was a little bit unclear from your side. It was like, okay, do merch, which someone who maybe is more experienced might be like, okay, I've done it before. Here's what I do. Whereas you're like, what do you mean? Like there's so many things to organize and do in that process. Like there's obviously coordinating internally, designers like with me for like content taglines, things like that, look and feel, aligning that, then the budget with the CEO, and then also coordinating with external service providers who make the merch. Like there are, and then so many levels of feedback, like with multiple different stakeholders.
So many. And it's a whole process. Like it's a project that takes at least like 2 months.
Yeah. And that's something that some people might not understand because they don't really know or have full clarity into the steps they take. And that's why unclear work is the cause of that paralysis demon that we get, that task paralysis. I get it as well. And it's like when I'm unfamiliar with something and it feels like this big, scary, daunting project that like, I don't even know where to start. And like when things make sense, you can see clear logical steps. But sometimes I also think that that's partly, maybe because you're more junior and there's some scary, like imposter syndrome there. And so, a bit intimidating. But it's also like there's no clarity in that task. Make a merch? What do you mean? Like, what's the goal? How many?
What merch?
What's the budget?
Do I just get to choose whatever I like?
Is it just for events? Is it for prospects? Is it for us? Like, what's the thing? So like getting all of those like scoping questions out in the early stages. And it's not on the person who's like necessarily asking you to do the task. It's also for you to be like, let's get some clarity here. Like, what's the goal? Do you have a timeline in mind for me? Because otherwise I'll deprioritize this because I've got other stuff to do. And like, it's a long-term project and it's also a bit unclear the steps to take. So I'm just going to kick it down the road, keep forgetting about it, never take it on. By the end, it's this giant, scary thing that actually in the end, when you tackle it, usually it's not that bad.
It's actually like, oh, why was I scared? This took me literally 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's also to do with like how you procrastinated until the end because it's so scary. So then you also have to do it all at like in a such a small amount of time because you're like, I procrastinated this and now like, I have a deadline.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a big thing with like workflow.
Yeah. It's like, it's important to have clarity for things like having a deadline. I obviously think they're important, but I've always been of the belief that like deadlines in marketing are flexible. Like we can decide our own priorities. And if something needs a bit more time to get done properly, I think that's like worth taking. But absolutely, I think it's like, it can be very daunting and very scary. And then if you kick it down the road and you leave it to last minute and then you're like scrambling to put it together, then that's again, like so dysregulated for you. It's not like an enjoyable process for anybody. And also like, that's what we're here for. We should be able to sit side by side together and tackle things if you're struggling or if there's a task that you're unclear about. But it's something that all of us deal with, marketers. So let's all just be like, let's just take a second, okay? It's very scary being a marketer sometimes because you get stretched into all different directions. And sometimes you pick up, like you're a content marketer and yet you're planning like merch or like doing events and things like that. We're small and scrappy as a startup and we like to pick up other things, like even doing this podcast. Like this is outside of our comfort zone. It's something a bit different. So it's important to like give ourselves the grace to understand that we don't always know everything. And sometimes you just figure it out as you go.
And that's okay. Like, also be kind to each other. Like be kind to yourself, first of all. Like it's okay to not know everything. Like you're not God.
Yeah. You're not expected to know everything.
Also to each other. Like we have a manager that is like super nice. So if we can't go to him and we're like, I don't know what I'm doing, he'll just actually take the time to sit with us and scope it and do it with us.
And not everyone has that.
No, some people have managers who have like 10 people working for them and they're like, well, figure it out.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah.
And that's where I think AI can be really helpful. I know for me, I think when chat was released, it definitely helped my imposter syndrome quiet a lot because now, yes, AI is mostly just a yes machine. It's just saying, yes, great job, great idea, great idea. Mm-hmm. But if you prompt it the right way, it can actually stress test your ideas and it can validate your thinking and be like, okay, here's what I'm thinking for this like content strategy. Let's say, this is what I'm thinking. This is my insights. This is what I'm planning. Does this make sense? And then it can help you like break it down. And then I just found that really helpful because I am someone who is like a bit imposter syndrome-y, a bit scared. And so I would like get something that was a bit intimidating as a task and I just kind of like keep it to myself and like run away and hide. And never like ask for help or do anything because I didn't want to seem like I was stupid. Mm-hmm. And actually asking questions is the best way to not be stupid.
Okay, so actually, how do you slay your task paralysis demon?
The demon. How do we bring down that demon?
How do you slay it?
Well, I think everyone's different. And I think you can find different methodologies, tools, whatever to help you. But for me anyway, one of the things that helped me early on in my career were those like, have you seen like the Pomodoro method, which is like time blocking your tasks? Mm-hmm. Another big thing is like, have you ever heard of like eating the frog?
Eating the what? The what now?
Like ribbit, frog.
I've never eaten a frog. I'm kind of scared.
Okay. She's not French. Well,
nay.
Eating the frog is basically something people with ADHD or neurodivergence might be familiar with this because it's a big thing for people who struggle with executive dysfunction, which is something that I used to really struggle with.
I feel that. Yes.
And it's basically, it just means like tackling the hard thing first. So like, you know, take your biggest, hardest task or whatever's on your list for the day that you really don't want to do. And this is not just in work, it's in life as well. Like something that you just don't want to do. Do it first. Get it out of the way because the feeling of accomplishment afterwards makes every task so much easier.
It's like going to the gym in the morning. So then you're like, that's out of the way. I'm ready to slay my day.
Exactly. And the feeling of relief and empowerment after that is amazing. So one tip I can tell us girlies or us marketers is that try to, if there is a task or a project or whatever it is that's on your list that is giving you anxiety, that is like, you just keep kicking it down the road, like ask for help or like, you know, either ask for help is always a good thing, like, or just get into it. And that's when you see where maybe there is unclarity. Maybe there's some things that like some questions you need to ask different people so that you can be able to do the task. Like sometimes you don't know until you dive in what's really needed, and not all the scoping in the world cannot always protect you from that. So sometimes the system is also just sitting down together with someone who has done it before and like picking their brain or just asking them to do it with you. Like for example, like last week, we took our one-to-one, sat down together and tackled this disgusting budget sheet.
Budgets. Guys, we're in content marketing. We don't want to be doing budgets.
I am not a maths girl.
I hate maths.
That's what AI is for, okay?
Yes.
Stop taking my job and just do my budget sheet. I don't want to add up anything ever.
Take the annoying part of my job.
Exactly. But like that was something that that Nika was working on that like neither of us like to do, and like it's neither of our forte. So sitting together and just, it's not even that it was anything different of me being there. It was just that you had someone to kind of validate your thinking with and be like,
yeah.
Does this make
and
sense?
I kept going back and forth with this. Like I was always going back to the budget sheet and saying, okay, I'm done with this today. Like I'll do the next one tomorrow because I was so scared of it. And then I was like, no, Penny, Thomas is going on vacation. I have to do this today. Please help. And it was so easy with you in the end.
But I would have been the exact same because I don't like those tasks, like things like that are out of my comfort zone that I don't like or like I'm not necessarily good at. I make them so much harder than they need to be, you know?
Yeah, like you're actually over-engineering it in
Definitely.
the end.
You're making it seem way bigger. It becomes a demon instead of just like a little
It is a demon.
sprite you can flick away.
Task paralysis demon.
But one thing I think is important to talk about when it comes to ops is like some people see them as like an admin burden, like having processes, operations, which I mean, these are just, they're not buzzwords. People are going to say they're buzzwords. They're not. They're just like, how do you do what you're planning to, how do you execute your strategy? And that can be down to like a simple, tiny little workflow of 3 steps, or it can be something that's like really in depth. That's like, for example, how we work, which is like sprint planning. And we work in this really structured, agile way so that we make sure that within 2 weeks, we have a concrete list of tasks, clearly scoped that we can achieve. And then we can estimate our time and know exactly where we're allocating our time, energy, and resources. And for us, this helps us stay aligned. We have visibility within the company, like the leadership can always check in and know like what's the priority. And yes, maybe it's more energy and time to like think through your projects and go, why are we doing this? Why is like all those parts that scoping out a task makes you do. That saves you a lot of time in the long run because you're smoothing out the process before you find those kinks in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're like helping future you. Like future you is going to go back and be like, oh, thank God I have all these tasks scoped out. Otherwise I have to think like, okay, what do I have to do this week?
Yeah.
And I think like for people like me and you, like we're creative, chaotic girlies. So our brains are kind of chaotic. But like having these like processes, having like, I have to go and I have to plan my sprint and I have to plan my tasks. Like that saves me so much time because otherwise half of the work I would have to do would be gone, poof, disappeared in nothingness.
It'd be like, that task we said we were going to do this week. Let me go through all my meeting recordings and find it. Like, no. Like when I mapped out our strategy for 2025, it was so nice because we'd get through, Q2 and then I'd be like, what the hell was the plan for this? Like, I can't even remember what we were supposed to be doing. And I could just refer back to my really in-depth strategy. It was way too in-depth, but I was like, this is great. We need to do this, 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 and this. And actually, without even checking, we had just like done a lot of the strategy without having to go back every month and be like, oh, are we aligned with this? Yes. It just gave us a guiding light for the year, which is really nice. And sprint-based structure or whatever kind of methodology you want to work with is so beneficial for like also predicting your workload.
And in hindsight, then it was good that it was so detailed because you're like, oh yeah, we wanted to do that. I completely forgot. Also because we say 500 things in a moment. And then we're like, oh yeah, what did we say we wanted to do?
Yeah.
Like we need to have things written down. Otherwise it's all just disappearing.
Yeah, it's all just in the ether. That's something I said, like, I think in my interview when I did my case presentation for Content 2, Thomas actually asked me like, what's like I think it was something about like a piece of advice to work best with you. And like, someone had never really asked me that. And I was like, never ever say anything to me verbally. Like
write it down.
I'll write it down if I can. But like also it needs to be written down. If we just casually say something in a meeting, nothing is getting done with that unless it's like confirmed written. Because I just don't remember things unless they're written down.
Also because you have 1,000 people saying 1,000 things every day. So obviously you're not going to remember everything. Exactly. That's why we have our content requests. And not, just send me a Slack message. Like, no. Go away with your Slack message. Leave me alone.
This is the problem because content marketers definitely, and all marketers, not just content marketers, get quick requests just dumped into their Slack. And that's absolutely fine. If you want to pick up something that takes you 20 minutes, whatever, do it. But like, don't just expect a message that can just be handed off and then we're just going to pick it up and do it. We need you to like actually think about what you want as well. That's why we have the request process.
So much stuff gets lost as well. What if you're like, hey, can you make this content asset? I'm like, why? For who?
Exactly.
With what?
What's the format?
Why? Again, why? What's the purpose?
So all of this is to say that like operations is not just an admin burden. Yes, you do have to spend a bit more time up front. It will take time. And you have to sit in meetings sometimes, and you can do your best to make sure that those meetings are as productive and short as possible, which we've done a lot of work to make sure we're not sitting there for 2 hours sprint planning. It's like a quick 30 minutes. But the thing is that operations protects your brain. It protects the creativity. Like the thing that makes us so good at what we do, like we've talked about it before, is like the fact that we have the space to pick up creative ideas. And we would not be able to do that if it wasn't for the processes that we have in place to make sure that we don't burn out and die.
True. Facts.
Facts.
So, okay, guys, your creativity needs to be protected and workflows do that for you.
Yes. And one big part of workflows, and it's going to be literally my mantra for all of 2026, saying 2 letters. Say no.
No.
We're all about saying no in 2026 and protecting that creative energy.
Word of the year. No.
So we're very passionate. We love our job.
Yeah,
we
do.
get super excited. But that can sometimes almost turn into exploitation because we ourselves get so excited by ideas that we want to jump on them, pick them up right away. So our systems are in there to protect us, like the request process that we have in Notion for like if someone wants something from us, they have to, whether it's like a simple like image for sales or a full deck or something like that, a new landing page, new contract template, I don't know, like anything. Those systems are there to protect us, not because we don't want to do the work or because we're just like, haha, no. Like we have them there to protect both our output, but our human brains as well. And if everything is a priority, nothing
is a priority.
Exactly. Say it with me. So, shall we say some commandments?
Yeah. So remember, we had the content commandments. These are the workflow commandments. Okay. So first of all, 1 clear owner per project.
Yes.
You know
hard.
what to do.
It's hard when you're working together on a lot of things and it's like, but just pick an owner. Like someone has to be responsible.
You can both work on it, but just one person will be the owner, like practically.
Exactly. And then second commandment is remove the approvers. Like there does not need to be that many people in the loop. Anyone that you're thinking of including as a stakeholder for feedback or whatever, absolutely include them if you want to, but be super clear about when and where and what you want feedback on, because you don't need, let's say, the product stakeholder giving you comments on the tone of voice, because that's not his remit. He needs to be looking at the facts and figures that you've presented in front of him. So being very clear about if you are going to have more approvals or approvers in there, be very clear about when and why, because otherwise you're just wasting everybody's time.
Again, does your CEO need to know about every campaign? Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, next one. Know what your real priorities are. Like, what are your business goals? Lead your priorities based on that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's like a really good way of prioritization, because everyone has different priorities. But if you bring it back to those overarching business goals, then you're like, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, like everything is a nice to have, but like what actually needs to be prioritized, because it's going to lead to positive business goals, or it's going to lead to something that you need.
Yeah. And then we talk a lot about having a deadline. Like I'm not too pushed on deadlines in terms of like, I like to be flexible because I don't like just rushing to a deadline and breaking my back just for no reason, just because I set this deadline 2 months ago or whatever. But having some sort of clarity of the timeline, ASAP is not a deadline.
No. What does ASAP mean? Also, if everything is ASAP, which one is my priority?
Exactly. So as soon as possible is like, do you mean like physically possible, like right now, like I could do it, or like as soon as I have time to do it? Because they're very different things.
Ooh, and another one based on our conversation. Eat that frog.
Yeah.
Yes. Go Queens, eat your frogs.
Eat that frog. Take the biggest, worst part of your day and do it first, and watch how much better your day is.
Yeah, I have actually been doing it without realizing. So I'm proud of myself.
Slay, queen.
You probably have been doing it too. Penny, do you know what time it is? It's confession time. Woo! Drink, mother flippers.
I got this question recently from the Pretty Little Marketer community. Shout out to them for having me on as an expert. Love you guys.
Whoop, whoop.
So she said, I'd love to hear your advice on where and how to organize all your ideas. What tools do you use? For example, I have Instagram posts saved for inspiration. Someone might Slack me an idea. I have things written in my notes on my phone, on physical Post-its. Do you have any ideas or advice on how to be more organized? And my answer was, I'm also super chaotic.
She was like, oh my God, I love this question.
Like, I love it. But also, I think it's clear that most marketers, like, I would love to know, like, if anyone else has an actual good, like, clear answer for this. Because for me, I don't think it's possible for me to build an actual, like, perfect setup for, like, organizing my ideas. Someday, maybe. But my goal right now is just to make something that makes a little bit more sense, because I am the same. I have things like written down. I have like newsletters that I love that I'll like forward to myself. I'll like send you messages on LinkedIn and you're like, why are you sending this to me? Like Slack it to me then. And like, I know we just are so chaotic because we also, even like TikTok, like we send each other things. Instagram, we have a group chat with our manager because we just send each other so much stuff on Instagram. So like, I relate to this so much. I'm a chaotic girly.
As we said, creative, chaotic girly is here.
Yeah. Now, that being said, we do have a couple of bits of advice that we can give. And my one thing is like, pick just somewhere to have a dumping ground, like a brain dump area, like a graveyard of lost ideas. I don't know. I have a place in Notion or a page in Notion that I just call like musings. And whenever I have an idea and like a surge of energy, I just like dump them all there. But it's not necessarily like a workable system that we can both use. But that's already starting off pretty well, I think.
But it's a system in a way. Like it's a system that we understand and can work with. Like we also have like our socials corner on Notion where we sometimes just like dump all of our ideas that maybe then we go back to, or like we dump like one-liners that are funny and then, oh, we don't know what to post. Oh, let's go in the dump, you know?
Yeah, and in our Thought Leadership Hub, like we have an idea bank for our thought leaders. So like we have things, they're just a little bit fragmented. So like definitely something we want to look towards in the future is like, how can we better like organize everything? But I think that's just the nature of like collecting ideas, you know? But one huge thing that's made a massive difference, and like I don't know how we lived without it before, is like a meeting note taker. Like also one that has an AI function like that you can search through. I cannot honestly say how helpful that is. Like we'll have one meeting about the newsletter. We'll kind of talk through some ideas. I won't think about it until I'm writing it. And then I'll search in my thing and be like, okay, what was the plan for the newsletter? What did we say? Blah, 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 blah. And it's just so easy then as a workflow for me to just pick things up straight away and not have to like take so many notes, search through the Notion deck of like, where did I last say that? Take notes for the newsletter, like blah, blah, blah. It's just really nice having every meeting recorded. Also for like this, we just have a conversation, we record it, then we pick out the best parts.
Such a lifesaver.
It makes such a difference for capturing those little quick ideas that you get, especially in a meeting naturally that we pick up, which is often us.
All the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's about creating a light structure, not perfection, at least for me. I just haven't figured it out yet.
And something that works for you, like maybe you're a person who likes to have analog notes and then you just have your notebook. Just make sure that you have somewhere where you can go and just dump your ideas and go back to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, if you're just talking about them, they're again flying into nothingness, disappearing, and goodbye forever.
And that's also the thing. It's like, just pick one. Just pick somewhere. It doesn't matter. Like, it could just be that I just use that musings thing in Notion and I just stop picking up other places, or that I take the time to like send things to myself and then once a month maybe check, you know, what I've added and see if it makes sense to do something with it. But picking one place to be your home base for your ideas and then having that as a shared system is already doing a lot.
It's like a mini workflow.
A workflow?
Okay.
Anyway, all of that to be said, it's not about your strategy. It's definitely almost 100%. It's almost 100% not your strategy. That's the problem. If there are things that aren't working for you, I think reassessing your goals and looking at your actual processes are two places that I would start before rethinking your whole strategy. That's my advice.
So relook at your workflow, see what works for you and your team. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily super structured, just like us. Yeah. We have a semi-structure and then we have space to
and we have
expand and like go out of that.
Yeah, like one thought leader that we work with will send a voice note with ideas and his like full thoughts. Another one will send us a fully fleshed out post. And we have our own workflow for how we work on the thought leadership project or the employee advocacy program, let's say. But we are not tied and forcing the executive team to follow, oh no, you need to write it down and then you must send it by this date. Yeah. No. It has to work for them. So we're asking from something from them. So we also have to, there has to be a bit of give and take with the process that, yes, we commit to our sprint, we do our documentation, we scope out the project, we know the goal, all the steps to take. But then not every stakeholder has to follow like the same process. We can have a little bit of flexibility so that it actually works for humans because we are not automated AI bots just yet.
Not robots, once again.
So we have to have that ability. Like operations isn't just having processes for the sake of processes, sticking to them even if they don't make any sense. Like having that human brain to go, maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe this process isn't worth following right now. maybe we can rethink this. That's also part of the process.
Yeah, nothing is fixed in stone.
Yeah.
You can always change. You can always adapt. So just figure it out together. Like we decided together, we want to do sprints. That's how it's going to work. And it works great.
It works great. And it's definitely something we tinker away with, we like play with. And like it's probably never going to be perfect because some things are hard to scope and some things are just unpredictable. But it gives us a little bit of confidence and a little bit of like clarity in terms of like what's expected from us and and it also shows what we're delivering, because a lot of the time people don't know the steps that are needed for a piece of content, a project, a campaign, whatever it is, all the steps that for each round is needed. And having a documented, like a proper documented workflow shows leadership, everyone else, like what you're doing and how much work goes into it, so that you can also say, hey, we did that. The deliverable was there, but also the 6 weeks of work that got us there is also part of that.
There's all of the tasks, all of the processes that brought us here.
Yeah, and that makes it so much easier.
Perfection isn't the goal. The goal is to just get your work done and not lose yourself in the meantime.
First of all, can I just say thank you all so much for spending time with us. We love to rant, and this podcast exists because marketing can be very lonely. So
yeah, come rant with us. Like, subscribe, XOXO.
Be our friend.
We love you.
Go touch grass.
Drink water.
Close your Slack.
You've done enough today.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.